Did you actually, I mean, apart from not reading scripts before you say, yes, I'm going to do it, you also never watch a film that you're in? You don't normally?
No, I had to watch that.
You did watch
because
it?
I went to Taormina and watched it.
Oh, Taormina.
On that huge screen, which is about twice the size of the studio, and Mount Etna behind it.
Isn't that setting something else?
It's staggering. But you're very large on it, aren't you?
Yes,
there's no way of missing. Shut one eye. I mean, there's no way of missing it when it's right in your face.
Well, why don't you like seeing yourself on screen?
You know why I don't like it, Michael.
Why?
Because...
Why?
You know. Because I'm this... You know why? I'm this 5'10", tall, willowy blonde. And I can't bear seeing a dwarf come on. I think all the time.
I mean, you really think you're hideous on screen?
Yes, and also, you know, the choices you make when you play a part, you know, it's... I've said before, it's like that huge console in front of you. You press so many buttons. You think, shall I do a bit of that and a bit of that? And you put it together, and you imagine that it's going to be, in your mind, it's different from what you see on the screen. You think, well, if I had known it was going to be like that, I wouldn't have done that. And yet I can't also bring myself to go and see the dailies either. I couldn't do that. I'd never go back the next day.
You don't?
No.
Well, so, I mean, why become a... That begs the question, why become an actor?
It's a way of hiding.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it? It's that?
Yes, it is. You know, it's like doing this show is much, much more frightening to me than doing King Lear. You don't want a bit of King Lear now, do you?
I'm old enough. I'm growing into the part.
Play those two girls.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a frightening thought, wouldn't it? That really would be a frightening thought, yeah? Speaking of which, I mean, you're now approaching your 70th birthday.
And you.
I mean... Yes, but I wasn't being accusatory at all. I mean,
no, you were. You said it, though. I'm approaching my 50th birthday.
Listen, you have great difficulty in actually disputing that because it becomes public knowledge soon, because there's a book being published by all your admirers to celebrate your 70th birthday, which is the only reason I brought it up. Otherwise, I would not have mentioned it, Dame Judi.
Thank you.
Said he lying swiftly. But really, what comes through in the book, which I've read, but you're not allowed to read it yet, is this wonderful knack you have of not taking yourself seriously, of taking the job seriously, but not yourself.
Didn't Johnny Depp say about 3 days ago, it's a child's job? And I thought, oh, that's a brilliant thing to say. Because in a way it is. Yes. It's a serious child's job. And it's, I mean, it's wonderful if you're lucky enough to be able to do it and you like doing it.
Yes.
You know, I run to work in the morning. Yes. 4:45. But you know that we mustn't take ourselves too seriously.
There are also
I don't want to work with anyone who hasn't got a sense of humour.
No, well, that's the important thing about having the sense of humour, and you've got a very highly developed one. So tell us a couple of stories about this sort of sense. I mean, to start with, you're rather accident-prone, aren't you?
Yes, I've just had a fall 3 weeks ago.
You did?
What about a film for a week?
Really?
Yes, I fell down some stairs. And they thought I'd smashed my hip bone. But as you see, I haven't. No.
And what about when you're doing Midsummer Night's Dream on the fireman?
On the
What
fireman.
was that story?
That was the film of the Midsummer Night's Dream. After we'd done it at Stratford, we did a film of it, which also I've never seen. I don't think you should either, actually. It rained. We were at Compton Verney in Warwickshire. And we had no clothes on at all, just a few leaves stuck in there. And there was one glorious day when it was meant to rain. And they had to they didn't, so they got the firemen in. So we had dressing gowns on, and suddenly we took the dressing gowns off, and we stood there, and the rain, which was meant to come all over us, went all over the shop like this. You know, this man, the head of the fireman, shouted, "Keep your eyes on your work." He said, well, this boy said, "I am, sir, I am."
I went to see you do All's Well, the Gielgud, and you're marvellous in that. But again, I mean, there's an indication of the sort of sense of fun that you have in what you did on that appearance.
Sort of appearing in 2 theatres at the same time.
Exactly, so tell us what you did.
I couldn't resist the fact that I came on for the second half and had one small scene, and then I was off till the very, very end. And I used to get quite bored sitting in my dressing room. Nobody to play with, they were all on stage, nobody... And then suddenly I thought one night, I know what I'll do. I'll go and appear in Les Mis next door. And so they got me a costume, and I Kate got out of this costume, raced along the street, in, and then I sat down, and of course, in the middle of an actor's nightmare, because I stood with a whole group of people that I'd never seen before in my life, all dressed up. I didn't know who they were, and somebody said, "I'll hand you a stool." I said, "Thank you very much." And I went on and did the whole of the barricades. And then I raced back for All's Well. And then Jonathan Price wrote me and said, "There's a very nice part of a dead goat in our second act, if you care." 9:20.
Anyway, look, I mean, what are you doing at present? I mean, you're making another film. You're doing an interesting
Stephen
film
Frears, yes, about the woman, a real story about the woman who started the windmill, got all those nudes on stage.
All right.
Nobody knows about her. They only know about Vivian Van Damme. In actual fact, her name was Laura Henderson. She was frightfully rich. Her husband died. Her son was killed in the First World War, and she was left with rather a lot of money. Yeah. So she bought the windmill.
What a good idea.
And then she got round the Lord Chamberlain and put all these nudes on stage. And, oh, it's the most wonderful story.
Good. It's a delight to see you. All the best of the film. Ladies in
Thank you.
Lavender, it's called. And good to see you, as always. Dame Judi Dench.